good. Call the January 24th meeting of the Bridgewater Community Preservation Committee to order at 6:34. Members present are myself, Gina Gosconi, Chair, Carlton Hunt, Vice Chair, Bill Smith, Jeff Merriman, and Maureen Manasian. Okay, cheers. Moving on to chairs announcements. Just a couple of quickly. The state match for round one of this fiscal year is at 21%. The state's not expecting a surplus this year, which would mean that, surplus additional funds coming. But I was listening to the council meeting last night and they were talking about like state aid for roads and such. And one counselor said the same as what I just said that I got from the coalition newsletter, that the state's not expecting a surplus, but another counselor said they were. So I guess we just wait and see. But everything I've seen is revenues are down. So we shouldn't be looking, it would be nice to get, but we shouldn't be expecting more in the next round. According to the coalition newsletter, there's a housing crisis in the state, which we probably all knew about it, have heard about it. The state has passed the Affordable Homes Act, but the state can't pay for all the affordable housing. So hopefully CPC can kick in. We'll have projects that go along with that, not just for Bridgewater, but for other cities and towns. The last thing is, one of the things for community preservation funds is playgrounds, particularly handicap accessible playgrounds. And I'll hit more on that in the Park and Recs report, but that's one of the things they're looking to do more of. Okay, public comment. I don't think we have any public.
Somebody,
here.
Pat Driscoll's just joined us.
Yeah, I just saw that. Thank you. Hi, Pat. Okay, approval of the minutes.
Can I ask you a question? Just while Josh is on. I mean, our website's terrible. So unless I got the link sent from him, I went on to, the reason I'm late is I went on to the agenda center. It's not on the agenda that you download. And then it's not on, if you click on the calendar and you click on that, I just think it's very difficult for the public, and I hear it on the planning board side, to find the link.
I agree, Pat, and thank you for bringing that up. I just had a Parks and Rec meeting right before here, and the chair sent along the agenda that had the link typed in it, but we couldn't just click on it, and I couldn't click on it through the town website. So I hear what you say.
So what
we get an email from Josh.
let me do this. So this is directly downloaded from the website. So if you open it, you have this link right here.
Right, but if you go into the calendar, right, and you click on the meetings for tonight, and you click on the meeting, there's no link there. Then you click on agenda, it brings you to an agenda. It doesn't bring you to this PDF. It brings you to a different agenda.
Right, but once you get into the agenda, this is what I had to do for Parks and Rec. Is copy.
So you guys able to still see my screen here?
Yep.
I can see it, but that's not what it brings you to.
Yeah. So do you see the calendar?
No, I can't see what you're doing.
Oh, okay. Give me just a second here.
If I could make a suggestion, maybe we just put the link when you send the packet out to the committee, just put the link in that email.
I
He-
get 3 or 4.
Calton, he does, because that's how I got on. I just went
That's,
back
so
to
he-
the
I've
email.
never seen it in, I go to the town page, click on the agenda, find that, copy it to my calendar.
Have you
But
downloaded that?
it's in the packet that Josh sends out too.
Josh, you see it's on the meeting files, right? Who knows to do that? You click on the agenda, it downloads the agenda. Why do you have to go to meeting
Well,
files?
Because it's a poor system.
Yeah,
It's awful. I mean, I get texts before planning board meetings as well.
Yeah.
Right, when you click on the agenda, the link should come up. You shouldn't have to go look for the link in meeting files.
yeah, and you know, we've talked to the website about that. And I mean, this is just their default. There's not a lot I can do other than send you guys the link in the email. I can send you a calendar invite if that helps. I do that for some of the committee members.
I mean, we get an invite, but I'm just saying for the public, if I was a member of the public, when you sign in 10 minutes before the meeting, and you click on the agenda and you click on the calendar, and it's not near the place, who's looking at meeting files?
Right. I agree,
I
Pat.
mean, what
I
does,
have a
what
hard
does,
time
what does a
finding
meeting,
it.
what does a meeting file have to do with the agenda?
Well, that's the actual agenda file.
But people don't know that, the general public.
Yeah, I mean, you know, unless I put a tutorial up on how to navigate that.
But I guess when we, before something changed,
Mhm.
you click on the agenda, bring you right to a PDF with the Zoom link on it.
Yeah,
Something-
that wasn't anything we changed. That was the company, the company that hosts our website.
I mean, I hear it from the public. I get emails during planning board meetings and before they can't find it. But now I just experienced it. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
So let me try to move us forward here. Gina, let's add that to our monthly meeting with Michael and just
Mhm.
ask for his support to get that. I think,
The fact that you have to go into meeting files to find the link is ridiculous. The link
Oh,
should-
Pat, I understand the frustration. I mean, you know, like I said, I try to include it everywhere I possibly can, and you know, what I can do is just see if we can explore some accessibility through the calendar, so that you don't have to go so deep in it. But yeah, no, I'll definitely. I'll
I mean,
definitely.
just to feedback to Michael, if you think about this, you click on the agenda, you
Yep.
click on the calendar, it brings you to the meeting. There's nothing in. You click on the agenda, there's nothing there. Then you have to go look at meeting files. I mean, that's insane.
No, I hear you. You know, and it's something I can look into, but
Mhm. Yeah, and that's like for the general public, as far as for committee members, Josh does put it right in his email. He puts the attachment with the agenda packet, but he also puts it right into the email itself. That's how I get on. I just go back to his email.
since we have a time limit, let's-
I'm racing home to be on the meeting. I go to the town website to the calendar instead of searching my email.
let-
Oh,
let's-
okay.
I'm in the, and I can't even find it.
Let's move
Right.
forward. We know the problem. We have some actions to take, but let's hope it's get fixed. But I'm definitely going to speak with the town manager about it.
Okay, good. And thank you, Pat, for bringing that up. Okay. Item D, approval of meeting minutes from October 25th. We didn't meet in November because of the holiday in December. We didn't have a quorum. So we're back to October minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second? Anybody?
I'll second it.
Okay, that was Pat. Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Josh, roll call.
Gina,
Yes.
Carlton,
Yes.
Maureen, you're on mute.
Use a thumbs up or whatever.
She's on her phone.
Okay, I got it. Yeah. I've never done it on the phone before, so it's odd.
Bill,
I'm staying. I don't think I was at the meeting.
Jeff,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
thank you. The motion was approved.
Great. Okay, financial reports as of December 31st. We're in good shape. Taxes came in. I didn't print that out, so I'm just looking quickly
No.
at it.
Gina, you want me to go through? it
Helen, do you
quickly?
have anything to add while I'm just,
Well, it came out and basically, from a revenue perspective, this year, we're at about 55% of our goal. The state match came in at about $11,000 more than we had anticipated, so that's all good. The balances underneath the available for CPC, basically, we've got total about $3.4 million that's available for various projects. Of that, there's about $800,000 that could be used for open space. I will update now that we have seen a new bonding scenario. We can talk about it a little bit later. Basically, we're looking pretty good because any bond we do can only use town revenue to pay it off. And given the fact that we're getting about 800,000 a year from the town, that's a pretty decent amount of money. There are a number of projects that have now accessed their funds. Looking at the Old State Farm, that account is now zero, and we need a report on that project, and then we can close that account. There's about the Summer Street property. There's still money we've talked about it. Well, there's some issues about the money and where it should be parked, and there's a plan being developed where that money will be put in an escrow account, so it doesn't have to be on our agenda constantly.
Helen, some of these things, the actual projects are further down on the agenda, the status of them, updates.
Oh, okay. I just was trying to do the financial. That's fine. I'll
Okay.
move forward. I'll move forward. Go ahead.
No, I'm just looking, see if it's on our project thing. I think it got left off, so I'm just going to ask about the townhouse roof.
The townhouse has money left available. We learned recently that the state has approved the grant funding that supplied. We also learned, as an update here, it's a financial one. We're still waiting to hear if all of that money that's left in there, it's about $14,000, will be returned to the CPC under historic preservation. And basically, the McElwain School has accessed all of their funds. So that account can be closed. At the Parthenon is still waiting for some things that I'll update you on that when we talk about the specifics.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's basically where we are. We're still the bottom line financially is that we're in pretty good shape for this year, and we have some work to do to get projects closed.
And we still have another 2 tax cycles, February 1st, and May 1st.
Right.
June, February, May, June. I guess not, just one. One more tax cycle coming through. So we are in good shape. Any questions on anything for that? Okay, good. Thank you, Carlton.
Welcome.
Old business policies and procedures document. I know you folks are probably tired of seeing that on the agenda. We finally have the comments from the town manager and the acting fiscal director. Carlton and I are just doing a final review of it. We'll get it out to the committee in more than plenty of time for everybody to read it before our next meeting. And hopefully we can just take a vote then and accept it. But I want to thank Carlton for all his work put into it.
You're welcome.
Project updates. Central Square Congregational Church. We talked about at the last meeting that they were looking to withdraw their applications. You were sent out a letter that from the church saying that they'd like to withdraw everything. Their funding. The reasons. So they were in the letter, but in talking to a church representative, it was kind of a threefold. It was a deed restriction, which was twofold. Some of the members weren't happy with the deed restriction, plus the timing of completing it, and also they were looking for commitment for phases 2 and 3, which we had decided as a committee that we would commit to those phases till phase 1 was done. We do have to vote to rescind the money, and I believe it goes to the council for them just to give the final rescinding of it, but we need to vote to rescind that.
So I'll move. I'd like to move to rescind or accept the withdrawal from the Central Square Congregational Church of the funding, and also that the town close the accounts and return the funds to the CPC accounts from which they were taken.
Second it.
Okay. Josh, did you get that motion?
Yep.
Okay, good. Any discussion?
I think it's been a long process, but I think getting this closed will be good.
Okay, good. I agree. I would like to have helped the church. It was just a number of things that weren't working for it. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of Carlton's motion?
Roll call.
Yep,
Gina,
yes.
Carlton,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Pat.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Great, thank you. Styles and Heart improvements, the bid has gone out for that. Will be updated more when the bids are in. Discussion on Styles and Heart.
Yeah, we are still waiting for we've received a detailed potential cost, but we're going to need a detailed what the town expects the CPC to receive reimbursement money. Of course, this is the state's grant is reimbursable, so you have to spend the money and then you have to apply to get it back. But we'd like to get a list of the eligible items that the town intends to ask to have the money sent back to us.
Okay, good, right. Okay, Hemlock Drive windows and door replacements. The Housing Authority had been in touch with me that they were hoping to present tonight, but then got in touch with me again and requested February to come to our meeting. They found that they could get a grant to replace the doors and windows, so they were looking to change their application or change the award, but we couldn't just change the award if it was for a whole different project. And they were talking more the porticos and the entryways. They were putting together a price list, a cost list of that project. They got in contact with me last week, maybe the week before, that they found that their original application did include those items in addition to the doors and windows. So they've asked to come before us in February, so that's where that stands. But they were looking at a grant to replace all the doors and windows.
So Gina, are they, to clarify, they wanted to change the scope that we had voted and the town council and approved,
Correct.
and they still want to come back in February to change the scope of our funds?
Oh, her last correspondence said, and looking back at the application, it looks like the things that could have been, were included in their scope, not just the doors and windows. So we have to look at the application again. Plus they wanted to come and present how it was all in the original application.
So the application you're speaking of is the CPC application that,
Correct.
the application we received at the CPC, not the states.
Correct. And I can send that out to, Josh, could you send that out in the next few days just to the CPC so they can be aware of, be reminded of the application and be prepared for when the housing authority comes to us in February?
Sure.
Okay, good. Any other discussion on the Hemlock Drive project? Old State Farm Trails, Kitty Doherty has asked for letters of support to different committees in town for, she's applying, the NRTB is applying for a grant to the All Trails, I think it is.
Yep.
That would pay for building the trails, and she was looking for letters of support. And I believe that was phase 4 of the project. And there's 6 phases altogether.
And I noticed, I don't know if I said it in the financial report, we had about $4,400 left in the account, and all that money has now been sent over because of the change of the survey. The survey required a change in the layout, and so that it needed more money, and that money was used. That leftover money was used, so that's now zeroed and can be
Okay,
closed.
good. Thank you. At the Parks and Rec meeting right before this meeting, we voted to send along, thought it was a great project, and voted to send along a letter of support. Okay, next, the Parthenon freeze. Carlton, update.
I can update that. There was a question about the installation of the freezes, which have been restored and are waiting transport back to town here and installation. There was some concern about where they're going to put and making sure it was strong enough to hold those, public safety issue. So the town had an engineer come in and look at that structure to make sure it was solid enough or needed some updates, upgrades, strengthening. That engineering study was done, and that was done back in November, early December. We still have not seen, but have requested from the town manager the written report for that, so we understand what the implications might be to the project. As of now, installation is on hold, and we have no idea when that will happen.
Okay, good, thank you. Discussion on that, comments, questions? Okay, moving on to the Summer Street project, mobile station. Carlton, you want to give a update
Yeah.
on that?
I mentioned the fact that the funds are still there, haven't been doled out, and that's an issue that the town's working on. There is, I understand that the town has, and I think we talked about it in November, but it's worth updating. The town has contracted with Melissa Desjardins, who has developed a plan for reuse of that lot. That plan interfaces with the Flora T. Little Park, and there are some discussion about how that interface would look. The town, I've learned recently that the town will be scheduling a public meeting in terms of determining and addressing some of the ideas that have been put forth for that parcel. I'm not sure. I think that's going to happen in February, is what I heard this week. In the meantime, because the Florida Little, the BIA, which owns the Florida Little Park, has commissioned Melissa to, in fact, provide landscaping and pathway sketches for the BIA's intent to improve the park. I'm chairing a committee to review those for BIA. We will have a review tomorrow afternoon, evening, to go over those plans, and we'll make some movements forward. So BIA has full intention to keep moving on the park improvement on our side, regardless of what the town does.
Good, thank you. Moving on to the Broad Street properties, with next to the Chinese restaurant, that's in process, working to complete the sale or the taking. I added the townhouse roof on, which for some reason gets left off of my list all the time for no reason, but I think because I take from one list to the next, 1 month to the next, but we covered that. C, project updates, completed projects, final reports. Josh has given us, has sent along to Carlton and myself reviewed reports, pickleball courts, memorial building. Those two, we just have a couple of tweaks on it that will get out. Those will get out to the committee to review too, for the next meeting. McElwain School, when we
Oh,
waiting,
Gina, I had a question about those final reports. Are they put on the website or not?
they will be,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a good
Right.
idea to put them on.
right, and we're going to put everything on, like a whole trail of a project. That includes like the award letter,
Yeah,
there's
that's
a deed
excellent.
restriction right up to the final report.
Yeah,
So good question, but they will be on.
Yep.
McElwain School, we had something from the developer that was probably 1,000 pages long, maybe not 1,000, but lots. When we waiting for something either from them or from the town manager, just on the parts that we funded, that CPC funded?
For the final
Seems to me-
report?
Yeah, seems to me we're waiting for that instead of a whole big report.
So I think I think in my email to you and Carlton this morning or this afternoon, we have part of it.
Oh, okay.
And I just know that we at the last meeting we were talking about a cover sheet, and I wanted clarification if we were trying to start that cover sheet with this final report.
Okay, well, we'll take a look
And
at
I think I don't know if you saw Gina, but I said that maybe we could the three of us could meet in person to get work on all three final reports to make
That-
sure that we're aligning.
Thanks, Josh. That sounds
Yeah,
great
and,
to me.
and just to clarify for the folks that haven't heard this before, I'm sorry if you have. We have agreed that, and worked with the town manager and Josh, that the McElwain folks would submit a condensed report that focuses on the funding that CPA and the town provided for the development. It's probably going to be something on the order of a few pages. Personally, I think any of those projects that are multiple funded should have a total project cost and then how much we've contributed. So it's clear that it wasn't all of our CPA funds, but there were other contributions. And that's a point that we can discuss a bit more with Josh.
Good. I agree. Thank you so much. Okay, and other discussion on final reports? Okay, D, eligibility forms approved, awaiting applications, community guidance at the senior center. Emily Williams, the director, is working with Bob Ruley, community and economics economic development director, to complete an application for that.
Application for the town, for us, or for the grants?
The CPC. And they were also working on, I believe, the application to their All Trails to get funding for the trails up and back. But that wasn't part of, the trails weren't part of what they came to us for. Hanson's Farm is moving right along. The appraisal is done. Attorney Rollins is going to negotiate with the Hansons on it. We can't disclose the amount tonight because it's not public yet. There, as Carlton said, we received an updated bonding scenario, what we can bond, what we amounts that we have to bond, and how that would work. We'll bring that forward more once we know what the negotiated cost is. We should have a full application for the February meeting. The negotiations should be finalized well before that, and the town manager will submit his application. Also, one of the things we talked about in a meeting on Hanson's Farm last week was, or a couple weeks ago, was what are some possible public benefits and usages of the Hanson's Farm? And I was thinking if we put together a list, we can give that to the town manager that Attorney Rollins can take for when he goes for negotiations. Any thoughts on usages? Public benefits?
I'll chime in. There are, I've done some research on grant funds and deed restrictions and beneficial use when you use this money this way. There are a large number of potential uses, like providing access in some way, maybe trails. There are other benefits like preserving a scenic view, preserving wetlands, watersheds. There's a whole lot of public benefits that can be included in any deed restriction or any agreement. So I'm not sure if this is the right place for us to put a whole discussion together, but I'm happy to hear anybody's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I- Okay, if I speak?
Sure.
So the one thing I'd be concerned about is safety. It was pointed out to me that at their farm stand, for ice cream and for seeing the cows and such, there's signs all around there saying to stay away from the actual farming area, because of course you can see them coming through there with the machinery. So I would just be cautious about anything that putting anything or asking for something that would put the public at risk. You never know when if you're hiking out there or something and a child takes a wrong turn or a dog runs in front of a tractor and there's an accident or whatever. But it's just the thought that the idea of preserving the area for views and for water and for swampland. I'm not sure what even is out there, but I would rather see that than seeing people hiking around their property.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Gina?
Eileen?
Yeah, so thank you, Maureen. Maureen wasn't at our open space committee meeting last week where we talked about this, but she kind of got the gist of it anyway, because and I have talked about it. But I just wanted to give a little bit fuller report. Yes, I was at the meeting that was held with Michael and you guys and Jason the other day and stuff. And Michael asked for input from the Open Space Committee. So I think probably what it sounds like from what you were saying that he wants that for when the negotiations go forward. So I will get that to him in writing, but I just wanted to let you know some of the ideas we had. It's kind of a variety. One of them is, let them farm. They need to farm this place. And one of the discussions we had at length with Michael and Jason was whether there is a requirement for public access. And I think the conclusion was no, that there has to be a public benefit, but there does not have to be public access. So basically that will be something that they can negotiate with the Hansons, but it doesn't have to be part of the deal. I think, if the Hansons are willing to let people on it, I mean, that might be great, but I think some of the concerns that Maureen was talking about are really big. And that said, some of the suggestions that were made by other members of the committee, the Open Space Committee, were maybe a very limited trail from the intersection of Oak Ridge and Forest, where there's that fence that the Hansons bring their tractor through in the summer, and that if there could be a trail following that path that goes along the back of the house, the other houses on Pleasant Street, that it would be a great opportunity for the people in that neighborhood, the South Drive neighborhood, to walk for ice cream or corn or whatever. That could be a very limited trail. On the other hand, it's a working trail for the Hansons. They've got tractors going down there back and forth all summer. So whether it's really practical, I think they have to make that determination. The other thing that came up was somebody was mentioning Soul Farmstead in Middleborough. It's such a great educational resource. That's quite different than it's not really a working farm, but that it would be nice perhaps to have some kind of educational center or even a building, or maybe just nothing but kiosks talking about perhaps the history of Hanson Farms and the importance of farming to communities and preserving the soil and the benefits of local food and that sort of thing. That could be something that would be much more passive, that it could, go up as the initiation of the project without in any way interfering with the Hansons working that. Another suggestion that came up was a community garden, but at the time we weren't, I know there is going to be a community garden at the senior center. I don't know if that's meant just for seniors. Does anybody know?
I'm not sure. I think it's leaning towards seniors, but it's also not, to me, a community garden as I think of it. Like the East Bridgewater Senior Center, I don't know if you've been over there, has a huge plot of land and it's divided up. And I think a place, it's not the cow pasture, over in the Easton. I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. Yes, yeah, I know what you mean, right? Yeah.
They have something similar.
Yeah, they have a great big one there too. Yeah.
Right. But what they're looking at the senior center is raised beds that could be for handicapped folks, disabled folks, challenged folks that can't bend down, older folks. So they're raised, and it's probably just a half a dozen of them. So they're not big.
All right. So yeah, right. So this would be different. I mean, the one concern about that came up was, I don't know if other people remember, but we had a community garden in Bridgewater at the end of Conan Street about probably 15 years ago. And that was a pretty big thing. And there were a lot of people out there, a lot of plots that were being used, but I can't remember the man's name who was managing that. He was a BSU professor, and I think he was doing it as a volunteer, and he gave it up. It was too much work. So I think, community garden sounds wonderful. And if the town could fund somebody to manage it and administer it, that might work. But, we can't, it doesn't sound like something we could expect the Hansons to maintain and organize. So just, another thought about what's really practical for them. I think those are pretty much all the ideas. Yeah, that's it.
One
Okay.
idea I had floated, and the Murray Needs Farm has access to the trails that are in the forested area of those properties, but you can't park a car there. You can't get over the stone fence. I had floated the idea of maybe asking the Hansons to set aside a couple of park areas where cars could park, so
Mhm.
people could actually come and then walk the Murray Needs Farm. I don't know if that holds water or not, but it's another idea. I'll send a list of, I'll send out to the committee, I'll send, and to Open Space, I'll send a list of the things that I gathered from some of the um, deed restriction type things for conservation land that I'd received from the state or downloaded from the state. So I promise to send that out to folks. So you all have an idea of what the state's thinking might be of what would be a public benefit.
Good, thank you. I was gonna ask
Gina?
if you could send that out. Pat?
I'm on the same page as, I mean, I think Eileen did a great job laying out
Mhm.
public benefits. I mean, just farming is a major public benefit, local food, being able to support that. So,
Good, thank
Yeah,
you.
actually, one other thing I just noted, somebody suggested pick your own fields. That might be an option, public can go in and pick flowers or something at times a year, so.
Mhm. Good. There's a place in Lakeville, I think. Is it for tulips? You can go in and pick your own plants like that. So it's good.
I just think it's dangerous. I mean, I think they still have to make a living. They still have to pay to be able to run the farm. I don't think we want to try to make it a not-for-profit either. You know what I mean? I think, they're giving up development rights, so they're getting a portion of what the land's worth. But they also,
Right.
in order to farm it, in order to provide all that manpower and maintenance and everything else, they need to generate revenue. So I really,
Mhm.
I really wouldn't
No,
be able to take any revenue away from them.
right. The place I was saying in Lakeville for tulips, they charge for you to go on and they charge for, I've never been. I think they charge per tulip that you pick. Um,
I
So
mean, the other thing about Hanson's is it's already providing public access, not to the farm, but I mean, the farm stand, and the ice cream stand are a community gathering spot. It's already there. We have the public
Mhm.
access to a limited part of the farm, and maybe they put a couple of benches out back so you can sit and look at the views, which we're getting, so.
I think the Hansons have told me that point. And I concur with Pat's concept there. We don't want to be having the public benefit take away from the Hansons' ability to make a profit.
Right.
Right.
Or
Correct.
even the hassles of administering something, if they have people coming out there and they've got to watch them and tell the town, it's working or it's not
Exactly.
working, it just gets complicated.
Mm-hmm. Good. Carlton can
I,
get
I don't
out.
guess it's.
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead,
sorry.
Bill.
I don't guess there's been any conversation about suggesting that the farm become organic or partially organic. I mean, if we're going to have walking trails around there, do we want pesticides to be close by? I don't know if we have any leverage and whether Hanson is interested in becoming an organic farm, which is not an easy thing to do. It's very difficult, but in the best of all possible worlds, I mean, we only buy organic vegetables, for example. I just wish it were organic or at least partially organic with some vegetables, but I guess that's asking too much.
Bill,
I don't know if any.
as an old farmer, I hear you loud and clear about that, but I don't think a deed restriction can go that far to say you must do this,
Yeah.
you must do that in terms of how you farm.
Yeah, I'm sure. I was just throwing it out there as the best of all possible worlds. But anyway,
Good idea.
Just an idea.
Thanks for it.
Good. Thank you for all the input on this. Carlton will get out the list, as he was saying, as possibilities that he has researched, and if anybody has any particular thoughts, just send them off to Josh and he can forward them to us. Excuse me. And we'll forward them on to the town manager's office, but thank you for a great discussion on it tonight. Moving on to item E of old business, the administrative account, their FY23 carryovers, recognition plaques and signage for CPA funded projects. Carlton has been contacting different departments that we have funded projects for on where they would like to see the plaques or the nameplates attached. So that's a work in progress.
Yeah, I specifically talked with the Bridgewater Trophy about how you would attach various plaques to fences or poles or whatever, and got some information there. And in order to move this forward, I need to meet with the Parks and Rec superintendent.
I
His
told Jim
ideas on how to
tonight.
mount. Yeah, and so I've met with them, and I'm trying to work on other things. I did want to add one more thing to this old business. The appraisal that was done for the Hanson Farm cost a little bit more money than we budgeted, and we haven't heard yet on if the town will be coming back to us to make up the difference or not. But the appraisal did cost a little bit more, so that is an unresolved situation right now.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, good. Once, as Carlton said, we haven't heard back from the town if they're coming back to us for more money or if they're getting the balance from the town coffers. We're not sure yet. But we may be paying more out for that.
Oh, there's one more under administrative that I forgot. So I'm going to add the RFQ for the 5-year CPC plan update was supposedly issued and posted, but I got word today that an individual that's interested in bidding could not find it. So I don't know if Josh, you can follow up with the town manager and find out where it might have been posted, but I'm a little bit concerned because I think the deadline for submissions was February 8th, something like that.
So I think there was an issue with the posting and the deadline's been extended. I believe the deadline's been extended to February 18th now. Let me just double check here. You know, let me.
Could you just make sure it's clarified so anybody that wants to bid on this thing knows what the timing, et cetera, is?
Yes, and I think the individual in question actually reached out to us as well, and we've been in contact with them. So I'll get a definitive answer on that, and then I can send it to the committee to just as a quick update.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, old business item F, applications received. The only one we had was from the Central Square Congregational Church phases 2 and 3, which they've withdrawn. Item G, their annual public hearing and 5-year plan procurement status. Carlton just updated on that. New business, I had none. Does anybody have anything to add for new business? Okay, upcoming events. I know of none for us. Public comments. I don't think we have any public on here. We have Janet, is that you for Hanson Farm? We have Hanson's Farm on here, but I'm not sure who, if it's Janet or Bob. And they're on you, but Okay, we'll move on. And if they do want to make a comment, we can jump back to that. Oops, I jumped over item H, liaison committee liaison reports. I can start for Parks and Rec. I mentioned under Chair's comments at the start of the meeting about the coalition for the CPA coalition talking about accessible playgrounds. And one of the things Parks and Rec has on our agenda for our next meeting. And I want to thank Pat for bringing this up at the last meeting about the Jenny Leonard Park, how it's been cleared. My thought, and I asked Parks and Rec to consider it.
Well, Gina, not only has it been cleared, but where is the Parks and Rec Commission of the town with accepting the gift of land next to it with the parking lot?
I don't think we know anything about it yet, but I will look into
Well,
that.
It's been in the works for a while. I don't know where it is with the town manager, so.
Okay, Josh, can you check on that for us too?
Sure.
Okay, I did take a ride down there one day and I went up and down every street in the back. And I couldn't find where that little parking area.
If you go on, you can't miss it if you go on Oldfield. So if you went in Magnolia, you were in the wrong neighborhood. You have to go in so if you went in, there's two neighborhoods, there's Magnolia and then there's Oldfield.
I
So,
went in the first one after the Jenny Leonard access.
yep, so
You know
if
where it
if you just stay on that road about halfway down on the left, you'll see
Okay.
you'll see a mailbox kiosk.
Yep,
And right next to that is a gravel parking lot and a drainage area, and that gravel parking lot is for the Jenny Leonard Park.
So,
okay,
Pat, it doesn't have signage that yet, so that's one of the critical issues that down the road. Have
Yeah,
proper
but I mean,
signage at that location.
we've been trying to get the town manager to take it. I talked to him several months ago. He said it was in progress, but I would have thought the rec commission would have been all over it, but I guess not.
okay. As far as I know, we haven't heard anything, but I'll check with the chair. Okay, so that's acceptance of land for the parking area. Okay, we'll check on that. But one of the things I was starting to say about playgrounds, I think that would, my thought, and I'm asking Parks and Rec to consider it too, is to put some type of a playground there again. Before it wasn't maintained well, plus there was nothing around it but woods. So there's a lot of graffiti and damage and such. But with a housing development right behind it, hopefully it would get more use. My thought is to see some type of small accessible playground for that land. And other than
Gina,
that,
it's probably a tough, if you pull in there and walk it, you'll see what I mean. The parking lot, the reason the planning board had the parking lot put there is because there's a major elevation change off Cherry Street to the play structures.
right, there is.
And you could really not park, you couldn't park anyway. So what we did was we asked for a safe parking area at the back off of Oldfield Road. And there's a trail to it, but I don't know if that's the place. I don't know if it's ideal because if you go in there, it's quite a walk. And you're on some pretty rough terrain. I mean, in order for it to be handicapped accessible, I think you would almost need to have a paved trail, a long paved trail or something of that nature, because it is, I think that would probably be one of the worst places for a handicapped accessible playground.
Okay, good.
You might want to look at modifying like Marathon Park or a park like that, or a park on Legion Field where you could pull right up to it.
Mhm.
There-
Okay, good
there's
point.
There's quite a walk, there's quite a path to that Jenny Leonard
Yeah.
Park.
Good point. And
Go park there someday and walk it. It's beautiful land. But
yeah,
there's-
I had walked it, a couple of years ago. Jean Garino and I had walked it, and it still had all the old equipment and everything there. It's a good size area. I was going to walk it the day I rode looking for the parking area, but I was having back issues. I couldn't find the parking lot, and I really didn't want to go up those stairs from Cherry Street, which is how I've always gone into it. But okay, so that's it for Parks and Rec. Just a thought for there, or even an accessible, as Pat just mentioned, Legion Field, some type of a handicap accessible lot, playground. But
I mean,
will,
I think, Gina, they should at some point all be accessible, but I think if you're gonna start somewhere, that's probably the most challenging site.
true, okay, we'll take that into consideration too, thank you. I know Marathon Park does have some handicap accessible, equipment apparatus. Okay, how about Maureen, anything for open space?
The only thing I can think of, I don't know if Eileen's still on or not.
Yes,
Yes.
I am.
Oh, Eileen, I bring up the, Wyman's Meadow?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was gonna mention too, yeah.
Yes, was that, through all this rain, apparently they've decided it needs a little bit more work with, bog boards and maybe some, work on the parking lot. So it's not quite ready for a grand opening, so to speak. But I
Right,
think
and-
that's it, right?
Yeah, and we did talk with Michael about that and Bob Rulli and apparently Parks and Rec, Jim Small has agreed to get some gravel over there.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's there yet. In fact, it actually could be, but yeah, that parking area is really terribly rutted, and whether or not people are going in to walk, there have been hunters going in. I know that the man Owen, who we have been working with at Wildlands Trust, said he was there not too long ago, and there was a couple of big trucks that came in with a whole lot of hunters that went over into the town water department land. So anyway, people are going out there, and it is getting really torn up. So there's going to have to be some additional work on the parking area. And also, he is finding that what was wet 2 months ago is not the extent of what bog boards and perhaps even bridges are going to be needed. That the continual rain is they're just finding it's going to be wetter than anticipated. So there will be some additional expense there. Wildlands Trust has actually absorbed all of the labor has been volunteers that they have had out there on multiple Saturdays, and they cleared the trail. They've spread the mulch and stuff, but they also had some people who actually did the building as well. So, but it sounds like they're going to have to go back and kind of do a redo when it stops raining. It never does. So, right. Yeah.
If it stops raining.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's kind of, I mean, it's like anything these days. What weather conditions do you build for? So.
Good, thank you. Pat, anything for the planning board?
No, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. Jeff? Anything for your committee?
Yeah, last meeting, we found out that the library managed to find a new archivist for all the historical documents. So
Oh,
that's
great.
good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Okay, who?
Bill.
Yep, Bill.
Yes, nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, good. I'm not sure who's on for Hanson's Farm. Is it Janet or Bob? Would you like to make comments? Okay, they're still on mute. Next meeting date is February 24th, maybe? to 28th. So the next meeting date would be February 28th.
And I forgot to say during the Hanson Farm thing, we expect the town to submit an application to CPC for the conservation restriction at that February meeting.
Okay, yep, we added that in already. But that's good for a reminder. A second. Okay, I think we've covered everything. So in light of that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
We need
So moved. So moved.
Okay,
Gina,
yes,
Carlton,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Pat.
Yeah.
Thank you. The motion was approved. The meeting is adjourned.
great.
you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice night.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Thanks, Gina.